Let's get ready for reforms! Not like a government reform. I mean reformulations.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
A warm welcome to you all. This is the Royal Rumble, where we get fragrances to fight to the death. Today's Royal Rumble is a vintage versus. Not vintage, but perhaps a reformulation rumble. La Nuit De L'Homme 2016 versus La Nuit De L'Homme 2011.
Wow!
After settling with little decants here and there, I finally got a pre-reformulation La Nuit. La Nuit De L'Homme is one of the most infamous fragrances in the fragrance community. It's undeniably one of the best fragrances to wear on a date, and it's also been the victim of reformulation. Or has it? Let's go ahead and compare these two. Clearly, the older one is darker. Next to gold, dark is best, right? The caps are very different. The old cap is very heavy. The modern cap seems to be hollowed out. It's a bit lighter. Firstly, let's talk about performance. Not gonna beat around the bush here, guys. Longevity, gotta go with this one. I get about 8 to 9 hours with the 2011 La Nuit. And with the 2016 version, I get about 6 to 7. Not a crazy difference, guys. This isn't water. It doesn't last 2 hours. It still lasts, just not quite as much as this one. Projection also goes to the 2011. Not only is this fragrance stronger, it has a more pronounced cardamom. It pushes the fragrance out more, and it makes it more noticeable because it cuts through the air with its sharpness. It's a bit more spicy than the current formulation, which kind of makes it interesting in the air. Price? I have to go with the reformulation. The fact that the vintage batches have inflated in price has caused the reformulation to really drop. I was a silly boy and bought 3 of these guys. I used one, I sold another, and I sold the other for $100, which means you could probably get 200 ml for $100. The vintage formulations, depending on whether it's 2010 or 11, can go 150 or $200 for 100 ml. In regards to scent, it's a tie. Allow me to explain myself. I do prefer the depth of the 2011 version. I think it's a lot more interesting, it has a lot more to it. But part of me still likes the reformulation. I smelt the modern formulation before I smelt the vintage. A part of my nostalgia is with the reformulation. A lot of the cool memories I had with La Nuit was with this version. I don't have that with the vintage, even though it's a nicer smell. That being said, this Royal Rumble needs a victor. Is it gonna be modern La Nuit or old school La Nuit? I don't know. Yeah. Vintage La Nuit. This was a surprisingly tough choice for me, guys. I really didn't want to say, oh yeah, vintage is better, but it is. That being said, the modern formulation has a lot going for it. It's going to be nearly half the price of the vintage. And also the fact that it's lighter does make it a little more versatile. I even wore this during summer days sometimes, and it worked really nicely, and I got a ton of compliments. I would never do that with this. So big ups to the reformulation. I ultimately decided to go with the vintage because it's about the scent. And although I don't have a lot of scent memories with this particular formulation, I'm looking forward to making some. Aww. Links to the J-ROYL Facebook group and my Instagram are down below, and if you like what you see, then like the video. For those of you who actually tried the vintage and the modern formulations of La Nuit De L'Homme, what are your thoughts? Winner! Vintage, because I'm basic. Peace. So when it comes to your content, yes, you should be free and creative and expressive and genuine, but you do have to play within YouTube's theoretical guidelines. There are certain things that you can do when you're uploading a video that will make you more successful and importantly, more visible.